as you can see here, I got artboards. Now, reason I'm going to do this little video is because I think it's important that you understand that the other night I said you didn't really have to use artboards for the assignment, but some of you might want to use the artboards, and there's a special way that you have to go about doing it. So I'm going to quickly give you a demonstration of how to use these artboards in Adobe Photoshop. This is what two artboards look like. I've created one. So there's one that started out with my image that I brought in, and the second one is one that I created. Okay. Now, if you take a look up in the Layers panel, this is kind of what artboards look like in a layering situation. You have what are basically groups, layer groups. So you got artboard number 1 or artboard number 2. Here's number 2. I hide it. That's what it looks like. You can only see the one. Hide the other one. That's what you see. Basically, you open this guy up here. If I hide this, you can see the artboard, but you can't see the image because the image is on that artboard. If you were going to do this week's assignment, which is to color these girls on separate artboards, then what you would do literally is you would go in and you would select the girl and you would do your masking for one, and then you would use as much of the information as you could from one by duplicating it and putting it on artboard number 2. So what I'm saying is you would start off by, let me do this so that you could see it. I'll give you an idea. I'm going to do it again, but let me ditch that art right there. So what you would do literally is you'd bring this piece of art into your artboard. You would then come over here and you would drag this down to your duplicate layer. There it is. And then you would click on this and you would bring this up onto artboard number 2. Now, just like it was a few minutes ago or a few seconds ago, this is my 2 layers or my 2 artboards that have the same image on it. Okay? And again, if I wanted to come in here and do a mask, what I would do is I'd come in and just make a quick mask. Let's make a real quick mask so that you could see what's going on. I am on artboard number 2, so I make sure that dress number 2 on artboard number 2 is selected, and I click on the mask button, and voila, there you go. You see, you've created a mask. Now, just for the heck of it, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to zoom in on this girl. Let's click on here real quickly, and let's make a selection of her head and shoulders. There. And that's probably good enough. Again, there's a little bit of garbage that I'm picking up off of here. You know, this is not an attempt for me to go through the process selecting again. This is just a demonstration of how to modify this artwork using these layer masks. So as you can see, I got her head and shoulders selected. Go to the View menu, and let's go Fit on Screen. And now let's go to our Layer menu again. And this one is going to be, since this one has been masked this way, I'm going to go to artboard number 1 and I'm going to mask her this way. So as you can see, I can do completely different things on these artboards. That is the whole point of this, that you can use these artboards to recolor your girl, or her dress, I should say, separately. And you'll end up with 4 entirely different artboards. And again, the way to just make the artboard is to come in here and select the artboard, and you'll see where you're available. I'm going to go View Zoom Out so that you can see this zoom out. There are the available positions that you can place artboards from here. Now, if you click on artboard number 2, okay, click on artboard number 2, you can see that I can put another artboard above her or to the right of her or down below her. Can't put it to the left of her because there's one to the left of her. That is basically how that aspect of this works. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to actually build this artboard in the first place. Go to the File menu, and I'm going to go New, and New Document. I actually have recent. If I use photo, let's see if I can make it from photo. It looks like I can. Let's see print. Looks like I can. I'm going to go art and illustration. Looks like I can. Web. Looks like I can. So I'm going to go, I'm going to just choose web because I'm on web. I'm going to click on artboard. Okay. And now that little check mark in there will let me create artboards. All right, the background of the artboard is going to be white. I can make it transparent or black, or actually background color I believe is transparent. No, it might be that color right there. So I'm going to leave it white, all right, and I'm just going to hit create. And there is my singular artboard. Now what I want to do is I want to go File, Place, Linked, Dress 1, Place. There's dress number 1. Now what I probably want to do place is I want to move this dress number 1 up in the corner here, something like that maybe. And I want to make sure that my artboard is selected, and I'm going to scale the artboard. You see that little icon right there? That guy right there. Click on that. And what I can now do is come down here and I can grab this corner and I can scale that artboard until it matches the size of my, let's go view, fit on screen. There we go. There's my artboard. Now view, zoom out so that you can see this a little bit better. Okay. Again, the artboard has been sized to this lady. And if you look up here, I'll open this up so that you can see it. I have artboard number 1. Now what I want to do is I can place an artboard above her, to the left of her, to the right of her, or beneath her. I'm going to place it to the right of her. And there is my artboard. Now, as you can see, there is nothing on artboard number 2. There's only artwork on artboard number 1 right there. So how do I solve this? No big deal. All you do is you, again, like I showed you, you drag this down to the duplicate layer, and now you have 2 on artboard number 1, and then you essentially share this image by dragging it up to layer number or artboard number 2, and now you have your artwork on artboard number 1. Let's go view, zoom out, there we go. Zoom out. You have artwork on artboard number 1 and artboard number 2. Once again, if you want, you can come in here and you can mask or do whatever you want to do. All right, I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to again mask this very quickly so I can just show you the difference. I'm on artboard number 2, so I want to make sure artboard number 2 is selected by clicking it, and then I'm going to hit mask. And again, I've masked it to show you what you can do with this. And again, you can mask this and then you can build the colors just like we did in the one artboard. You can build those colors on these separate artboards. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to zoom in on the girl so I can see her face again. And I'm going to do the same thing I did before, which was to try to select around her head. And actually, I'm on the wrong layer. So let me click on artboard number 1 and do this, which is where I should be. And I think that's probably pretty good. Again, I'm not getting everything because this is a 72 pixel per inch resolution, which is a very low resolution. My intent here is to just demonstrate this. It's not really to do a perfect job of this. Okay, so don't worry about how well I'm doing with this right now. It's just to try to give you an idea. So I go to my artboard number 1 dress layer, and if I hit the mask now, I get a mask of her face. So if I go to the view menu and I go fit on screen, I see my 2 layers here. My 2 artboards, I should say, each have 1 layer on it, and each one of the objects on that layer is being masked. Again, I could duplicate the layer, and I could do things like, for instance, let me duplicate this layer right here. You just duplicate this layer right there. Okay, and then this mask, I'm going to remove the mask, delete layer mask. Okay, and what I'm going to do with this is, just to give you an idea of how we can work with this, I'm going to put in a simple and very illogical layer adjustment on this. I'm going to go to brightness and contrast, and all I'm going to do is going to change the brightness and contrast, actually change the brightness. That's all I need to do. But notice that the brightness is being applied right on down through everything. So I told you in the other lessons that you have to hold the Alt or the Option key down and place your cursor between the layer that you want the brightness and contrast to affect and the brightness and contrast layer. Once you do that and you click, you can see what happened. That brightness and contrast is being applied to that layer, much the same way as we were working the other night when we were doing our assignment. So that is how you can use layers. Just keep in mind that these layers, these artboards, I keep calling them layers. I'm sorry about that. I mean, they're artboards. Artboard number 1 is nothing more than a group. That's really what it is. And artboard number 2, that is a group as well. All right. If you hide that, you hide the artboard. If you hide that, you hide the artboard. If you open this, you have access to the layers that are in this artboard only. So whatever you do, coloring her, masking her will appear in here. Now, once you create a mask, you could use the mask over on artboard number 1 because it would probably be in the same position. But what I'm saying to you is you have to treat these as separate artboards. So when you color one of them, after you're done coloring one of them, you then have to go into here, okay, and you have to do the very same thing in here. You have to come in and you have to create a brightness and contrast. And I'm going to actually, before I do this, let me do this right. Let me get this out of the way here. All right, let me duplicate this layer like I did in the other one so that you can really see this. I'm going to duplicate that layer. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this layer mask, delete the layer mask. Okay, now on this layer mask, what I'm going to do is go back to brightness and color, or brightness and contrast, and I'm going to bring the brightness up quite a bit like I did in the, or actually I'll bring it down. Let me make it real dark. That's even better. Okay, so I make it dark, and I now come in here, and again, hold the Alter the Option key, and I come down. You see how it's applying to the whole thing? Alter Option key, and I click on that space, that line right between the layer and the contrast adjustment. There, and you see, look, I'm going to hide it. Okay? Okay, so that's basically how it works. Now I have one thing going on artboard number 1, okay, and I have something completely different going on artboard number 2. That's basically it. That's how it works. Now, again, if you want to use this, please feel free to use it. If you don't use it, you can still do it the way I showed you, and it'll be perfectly fine. I just wanted to make sure that you had some idea how these artboards work. Thank you for watching.